So, Kevin, it appears that you were really impressed with ISKCON, and a major part of your life has been dedicated to doing some service for ISKCON.
Yes.
I'd be curious to know how you came into ISKCON.
I was living in Toronto, Canada in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Toronto. I was a young kid.
Okay, how old were you?
20 at the time.
Oh,
I was 20.
you were born in 1963.
Yes.
Okay.
I was approached by a black-bodied devotee who looked pretty healthy.
Uh-huh.
He just stopped me and he presented one of ISKCON's magazines to me, asked me if I'd ever heard about it. I said no. And we spoke at length for about 10 minutes right down one of the major streets in Toronto. And I mentioned that I lived in Nepal as a child, from the age of 9 to 11. And then he opened the magazine and started showing me a list of all the centers, Nepal
Was one of them.
being included in that.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably on a Sunday because he invited me back to attend the temple program. And I think I could have gone, but I was a little bit skeptical, doubtful. So I took a rain check for it. I took his name and number, and I remember to this day his name was Keshava Das, and I never got the chance to express my appreciation.
So you never met him again?
I never met him again.
Wow.
But I was told he was a Hatha yogi who was living in a Los Angeles temple.
I see.
And when I do see a black-bodied elder devotee now, I try to find out if his name is Keshava Das because I owe him a huge debt. Huge debt. So that was in 1983.
So you just got a magazine and that changed things?
I got a magazine, then I went to the temple one or two times. I was living with a couple of people at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I went back, I mentioned something about ISKCON, and they had all these preconceived notions about cults and being brainwashed and everything.
So it wasn't
else.
a good notion that they had?
They were quite ignorant, without any desire to look at things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of brainwashed, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I was influenced by them somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But I did go to the temple on my own. I didn't tell them where I was going. I didn't want to be talked out of it. And I got a biographical sketch on the life of Prabhupada called Planting the Seed, written by Satsrup Maharaj. I took back that to where I was living, I read it, and that is the only book in my life that actually made me cry. I thought, what a beautiful story about Prabhupada's life. What a spirit of self-sacrifice. Because as a child, I was very, very much interested in the life of, you can say freedom fighters or people who work for the benefit of others. When I was 9 years old, I think I'd written an essay on the life of Abraham Lincoln. I really appreciated his attempt to help the slaves, abolish slavery, etc. So when I read about these other, I guess you can say, philanthropic, humanitarian-like kind of people, I was very much attracted to those kind of writings. So when I saw this in Prabhupada.
So you were always attracted to philanthropic people who wanted to serve others. So
very much so.
So what made Prabhupada special for you?
Because Prabhupada was coming from the spiritual platform. And
how did you perceive that?
How did I perceive that? Well,
I mean, what made you choose Prabhupada as the person you would dedicate a major part of your life to, in comparison to, as you said, Abraham Lincoln or some other people?
I was attracted to ISKCON first of all by the life of Prabhupada. I thought this is a person who's completely sacrificed his own life, his own comfort, his own security, you can say, I guess, for the betterment of the world and the improvement of everybody else. So that's what really kind of drew me to the society. A lot of people come for the books, a lot of people come for the food, the music, the festivals, etc. I came because I was attracted to Prabhupada. That's what drew me in, and that's what kept me in.
Okay. Can you mention some of the things that really affected you?
About Prabhupada's life?
Yes.
Well, the spirit of sacrifice. I read about all the hardships he endured while coming to America at such an advanced age of 69. And I thought nobody could undergo those kind of trials and tribulations and not be paid for it. And, remain in such a foreign environment. Undergo all the difficulties he had undergone, and I think that's a wonderful book, Planting the Seed. It did so
much for your...
Very much so, very much so. So I was attracted to Prabhupada.
Okay.
And attraction to the teachings, the philosophy of Krishna's teachings came in at a later time.
Okay. So what did you do? You met the devotees, you started You moved into the temple for a while.
I moved into the temple 3 years later. It took me 3 years to go back to the temple.
So you lived like a monk. It was a monastery environment.
I didn't. My initial contact was in 1983.
Okay.
I got the books. I stopped eating meat at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something about the chanting. On I think my third visit to the temple, I was given a set of beads
Okay.
and a mantra card, how to chant Hare Krishna.
Okay.
I went back to the house and I sat down and I just started repeating this mantra. And because I was a complete new practitioner, it took me a lot longer to chant than.
Yeah, they were foreign words. They're
Let's see,
Sanskrit.
that's right.
Yeah.
Let's say a seasoned chanter. So it took me about 25 minutes to complete one round, or chanting
Okay.
108 times. But I'll tell you, within about 10 minutes of chanting, I told this to a devotee recently, I experienced an incredible amount of ecstasy. I experienced absolute unbounded happiness. I was so happy I wanted to run out of the building, scream, jump, fly, do anything I possibly could. It was ecstasy that I could not contain. This lasted for about 10 minutes.
Wow.
So at the time I was experiencing, okay, Krishna is dangling the bait in front of me. That if you persevere and pursue this path, this is waiting for you.
So did the ecstasy last?
About 10 minutes.
Okay.
About 10 minutes. But
And
the memory remained with me for years.
Oh yes.
For years.
Well, I can see it's remained for decades. You still remember it.
And then my roommate at the time came home. I was embarrassed, I was uncomfortable because he suspected that I had gone to the temple. So I took my beads and I put them under the couch.
You wanted to hide it from
Yeah,
the
completely.
others.
I tried to maintain my composure. You know, he came in, he could sense that something was a little unusual. But that was my experience.
So
So
it was Prabhupada who attracted you to the movement, and your appreciation for Prabhupada was in your heart, and then you tried to chant and you experienced the kind of ecstasy which you had never done in your life.
Yes, unbounded transcendental happiness. Very short-lived, but it was there. It was a
Did it
tangible
come
thing.
again?
I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it.
Why didn't you deserve it?
Because it calls for a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, good things come to those who wait and who persevere.
But then you got something to, you know, like you said, dangling the bait,
Yeah.
to let you know that this is waiting at the end of the
Yes,
line.
this is the ripened fruit of good practice of Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
So
And having experienced it, you can never forget it again.
never. Never.
But do you ever feel sorry or sad that you aren't having it now?
I don't think about it too much. I just feel privileged. I feel very privileged to be part of Prabhupada society and to help in any small way. Any small way, whatever we can do. Whatever we can. Because the service in a society is the ultimate reward.
Yes.
You know, if we can have the presence of mind to come to a society and to stay in a society, despite all the institutional setbacks, obstacles, reversals, misfortunes, etc., which will happen in any institution, irrespective of whatever tradition it may be.
That's a very balanced view, because a lot of people would say people who join a cult, a religion, they're fanatics. They wear blinds. They cannot see anything. They cannot see anything that's wrong. They think everything is perfect, and it's like it's utopia. But then I can see that you have a balanced view. You do see that there are mistakes, there are problems, but yet you're firmly grounded, you're firmly rooted in the philosophy and in your ecstasy that you experience, to know that yes, there is substance here, and there could be mistakes, there could be faults, but that doesn't mean that we throw the baby out with the dirty water.
There were, there are, and there always will be.
Yes, there will always be trouble.
Mm.
For after all, everybody is a practitioner
Absolutely.
who's got their own flaws and are trying to refine themselves.
But you know, most of the members are well intended,
Yes,
and you
Yes.
know, with anything, we just have to choose our association carefully.
true,
You know,
true.
to quote one of our leaders, he said, "All organizations in the world are bad, but of all the bad organizations in the world, ISKCON is the best." Right?
Well, at least intent is good. People
Yeah.
have good intentions, and
Sure.
those who don't have bad intentions would fall away.
That's right. That's right.
Fall away because they can't stick along.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm.
Because after all, there's God in the process. There's Krishna is there, and He'll ensure that those who are sincere will make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.